I've put this off long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Even broke out my new microphone. Or, well, an old microphone, but I've just never really used it. This is probably gonna be broken up a little bit, just because it's gonna take a lot. First off, I don't really play mid that much, so, you know, I'm more so a, like, solo or either dual lane kind of person. So yeah, I'm a little bit cringe, don't really, you know the exact builds or anything and all that. And I'm also not used to having stasis, which, there are a couple times in this game where, yeah, sure, I could have used it to live, but I probably would have died almost immediately after, so I think the few times that I did use it were better. But yeah, just, that's gonna be cringe. Yeah, like I said, this is gonna be broken up because I made a dumb decision that I've been sitting for the last, like, half hour trying to procrastinate. I literally cut my nails immediately after I decided that I was gonna do this, but, yeah, so it's probably gonna be broken up because I decided I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the, what happened to me and my situation currently. If you don't want to listen to a, basically trauma dump, but I'm not, like, asking for help or anything like that. Like, I'll be fine, I'll get through it. It's just, I don't wanna, like, pretend to be sunshine and rainbows just to be, you know, whatever. Like I said, this whole thing is not even for, like, anything other than funny moments with friends and what I find interesting, like, or, you know, trying to get myself to do these kinds of things just because, you know, I know that I can. So I'm not, like, afraid of, you know, posting my losses or anything like that, or admitting that I've done wrong or whatever. So yeah, it's just gonna be tough because I don't like talking about it. There's the reason I've literally, like, canceled going to a family reunion and things like that. Like, it hurts, but we all go through things, and that's the point of this, is that, you know, even though the bigger YouTubers won't talk about it or whatever, it's like, everybody goes through these things, so I'm just trying to be real. I guess I'll start with, I had bought a home with one of my partners at the time, who, you know, we had met online and talked for about a year, and then eventually they moved in with me, and then we saved up, and when we could just barely afford to do it, and I mean, like, barely, like, if I missed a paycheck, we were not going to be able to do that. We moved out. And we got our own place pretty far away, like, states away. We did that. You know, it was going alright. And, eventually I had a health scare. Something with my throat. There was, like, a big bubble on it. And that whole situation was, I was working at Walmart at the time, and it was just progressively getting worse and worse. Like, it was getting to, like, apple-sized on my throat, and I'm a stubborn motherfucker. But once it got to the point that I couldn't talk, I went to the emergency room the first time. And, what was it? They gave me, like, some pills to try to, like, reduce it or something, but I had a beard, alright? And, I mean, I have a beard, but I had a beard, and I didn't shave it, and I went to the ER, and they didn't even, like, really look at it. They just kind of took my word that it was swollen, and that was interesting. But, so it kept doing it. It was still bad, and eventually, like, so it was at the point that my partner had to watch me sleep to make sure that I wasn't, like, dying, basically. And so we had the Dalmatian rescued from, you know, my mother. Because that's a whole thing. I might talk about that someday, I don't know. And, you know, he was being adorable and loving and whatnot, and we, you know, we loved him. So he was helping me through that. But eventually I decided I needed to shave because I needed to be able to see it. And then it just goes to show you how stubborn I am. Even, like, freaking out at seeing it, I still slept and then went to the ER that night because I was working night shift, so I was sleeping during the day and, you know, working at night.
Thank you for the soul, dear.
So I went and they called the specialist, and when he came in and he walked into the room and looked at me, he just kind of got this dumbfounded look on his face and was like, I don't understand how you're breathing right now. So that was bad. He did the surgery. That all went fine. You know, went home, got better. But because of that whole situation, the first night that I decided to go to the surgery or the emergency room, I had told one of my managers, I was like, I wrote it down because I couldn't fucking talk, and this was a whole thing of this specific manager just didn't like me anyway. And he looked at me and said, well, I can't stop you. Now, if you know anything about proper procedure, first off, they are supposed to get either drive you themselves or get someone to drive you to the emergency room if you say you need the emergency room. So I drove myself to the emergency room. So anyway, the reason I bring that part up is because I had decided that I was getting out. I was getting out of Walmart. I was gonna go work somewhere else. So I did that, and eventually I put in my 2 weeks. I quit. I went to work for the post office as an RCA, so driving around delivering. That was fun. It paid better. So the way that they make you drive is a lot like the way that, like, I guess maybe not specifically DoorDash, but companies like that do of like, no, this is the amount of time it should take you. I don't care about speed limits, I don't care about traffic, I don't care about any of this safety bullshit. You gotta get it there, and you gotta get it done. And this is like the minimum time that it should take you to do this, and you must do that every single time. Like, it makes you drive incredibly unsafe. Specifically because I bring that up specifically because the second time that year I almost died was because I was driving it, and those cars, I forget what they're fucking called now. The cars, the mail trucks, their front tires are closer together than their back tires. So when I was driving a little fast, admittedly, because, they make you, and went around a curve, I was bouncing back and forth. Like, it was wobbling, teeter-tottering. I was about to flip. But thankfully, even with my ass in the air, I managed to get it calmed down and then pulled into the closest driveway that wasn't even part of my delivery. And I just sat there for a second. I was like, fuck. I almost died.
Oh yes, I can do some real damage with this.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And then there was a third time that I almost died within that year. And that was actually after my 3 months, which I decided that I was not going to try to be an RCA. So I quit that and I reapplied to be a clerk, but I reapplied at a place that was 2 hours away. But turned out to be like my favorite job ever, because it was great. The supervisors at the time were amazing. It was great to work with them. The people that I was working with, 80% of them were fine. And then there were a couple decent ones, and then the shitters. But, that's everywhere you work. So I went to work there, and at some point while I was there, my partner was working, and I had just dropped them off, and I went to go home, but it had just started snowing. My tires were not ready for that, so I was on the way back and going down a hill, lost all traction, started sliding sideways down the hill, and then I guess it finally re-caught traction, and basically I fucking hood straight into a tree. So I made the dumb during the crash, when everything was happening, everything's slowing down, I saw my phone fling up, because I had just had it off in the side, and my brain was like, phone, call help. So I reached out for it, and because I was doing that, the only injury that I sustained, really, except probably a concussion that I didn't notice, was that I broke 2 of the small bones in my right hand. Now I have a bump there, and my right middle finger is slightly shorter than my left middle finger. So thankfully someone stopped and brought me over to where my partner was working, and I walked in with my arm in my hand, and when they saw me, I just went, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I was not fine. But yeah, so ended up, having to get a cast. And unfortunately, while I was healing up from that, the Dalmatian passed away. So the last time they ever knew me was with a cast and whatnot. Cerberus, my baby. Yeah, so he passed, and then a little while, still cast on my hand. We we decided to get another dog, and that's when we had been seeing the signs for a little while, but there was a thing for German Shepherds, German Shepherd puppies. So we finally went, and we got Gazif, my little baby boy. Oh, he was so good. He he was a little big because they had had them for a while. He was the last one, but he was such a sweetheart. And so the first he ever knew of me was with a cast. Yeah, so I finally recovered from that, and then at some point, my partner got offered promotion, but if that happened, I wouldn't be able to work at where I was working at because the timings didn't work out. Like, I would get home right as she would need to be at work, basically. So I put in my 2 weeks there, and I worked at Lowe's for a little bit while they did that, and then I don't remember the exact timing of it. I think yeah, no, it would have been, I think, right after we did this. So after a little while, when we had my brother living with us right after the medical scare, and then we had to use his car when I had my accident, and that's a whole story, that's a whole thing, but anyway, we ended up getting our own car again. We started, or well, backtrack, before the car, we both quit our jobs to go work at the post office that I was just working at before that. So we were doing that. It was great. It was, again, a 2-hour drive there and a 2-hour drive back, but worth it. Good money, both of us. And then we ended up getting our own car, and we also got our little beagle baby, Osiris, because I've always loved beagles, and we were like, Gazif needs a friend, so we got him. He's a little stinker, but it was fine. So we were working at the post office, getting, doing all right, and slowly management started to change. You can kind of see where that's going. Spoilers. But, yeah, so we were working there, going for a while, going for over a year. We were almost at our 2-year, which is when you have to become career and get paid more, get better benefits and whatnot. Eventually we saw we were in a Sheetz. It's a gas station thing where they make food and whatnot. And we saw a poster for for baby black, like chocolate lab husky mix. And we're like, okay, let's talk to them, see what they're asking, see, you know, what all, no promises that we're gonna get it, and then of course we got him, and our little baby Ame. Just adorable, cute as a button. They were my babies. And so we're going like that for a bit, working at the post office. And like I said, it slowly got worse, more so that they were really just flat out bullying my partner. It was bad. But at a certain point, so trust me, this will make sense. I'm polyamorous, so I love multiple people. As long as everybody knows about it and everybody's okay with it, that's fine by me. You know. So, and obviously so was my partner at the time there. You know, I had people that I talked to online, they had people that they talked to online. I actually made a mistake with one of my partners because I thought I had told her about the third person that I was dating at one point, but apparently I didn't. I don't know if it's just the undiagnosed autism or whatever thing of like when you do a conversation enough in your head that you think you had the actual conversation or what. Either way, my bad. I fucked up. I own that. But that only really came up once me and that partner split anyway. And I had already split with the other partner anyway. Basically, it was down to just me and this partner, but she had other partners that she was talking to. And I guess things started getting more serious between them. So the partner that I was living with eventually decided, or well, I guess figured out that we kind of weren't really being partners as much as we were just roommates and friends. And I kind of felt that. Like, I care about people, and even if they're not a partner to me, I still care about them, and I want to, you know, help them and whatnot. So I guess I probably saw it way sooner, but I just didn't do anything, which again, on me. That's my fault, that's my bad. So we split, amicably, like it wasn't. But as time went on, it seemed like they were getting more frustrated at me for even like the smallest of things, and it almost seemed like they were trying to find reasons to hate me or make me the bad person. I don't know. I don't know what was going on with that. I'm not gonna sit here and try to say like, oh, he was talking in her ear. Like, I don't care. Eventually, they told me that they're going to move in with that other partner, or with that partner. So I was at this point, it was in that house, it was me, them, and their friend, who we had brought in to like help them out of a bad situation. But now, that meant that it was going to end up just being me and that friend, and then that friend was going to be moving out anyway. So I would not have been able to keep the house anyway. Like, if it was just me, I would not be able to afford living in that house. after
Such fragile
a little while of
spirits,
panicking
so
about
easily
that,
snapped.
it just got to the point that we couldn't, like, so living 2 hours away from work, we would have to call out a lot because of snow and such, and this was a little north, so we got snow quite a bit. Basically, because of that, we would have ended up being fired at some point, but we went ahead and, like, there was one night in particular where they had been getting rid of people left and right anyway, and we knew that we were, like, high on the list because of that, even though we were, like, the best workers there. So when things got shitty, and there was one night in particular where everybody was pissed off, everybody was suffering, and they were gonna ask us to stay like 4 hours late, I was like, no. So we decided we were just clocking out and we were quitting because it was bad. And like I said, we were probably about to be fired. So yeah, we quit, and then we were looking for jobs and trying to get things, and I even tried going back to Lowe's. That didn't work out for whatever reason. And yeah, we were just kind of floating, trying to figure out, you know, what we could do, making sure that the dogs had food, and then eventually it came around time that my ex's partner was able to lock down a house, and they eventually moved out and brought, you know, the boys with them. So it was just me. I had nothing. I was still trying to get a job to at least, you know, do something, but, you know, that didn't work. So eventually I had even done a GoFundMe, and thanks to the one person that did like $50 for it, I'm grateful for that, but I'm not one to ask for help, so I wasn't like promoting or whatever. The most I did was I asked one streamer if I could post in their Discord, which I still, even with that, still feel bad about it, but, you know, it failed. I had to, this whole time, throughout all of this story, the car was constantly fucking up, so that was keeping us down. And just different costs and whatnot were keeping us from being able to really do anything. So the car, I ended up having to sell, and having to use, you know, a bicycle to get around and whatnot. And then it just got to the point that I wasn't going to be able to pay the electric or, you know, the internet. You know, the mortgage, I was already fucked, so I just, at a certain point, I was down to, like, being able to just barely eat with ramen and macaroni and cheese. And, you know, I had talked to some people about if I could stay with them, and none of those really worked out except my little brother, who I had been living with before. And if it weren't for him, I'd be homeless or dead. One of the two. Either way. So, yeah, so my current situation after all that is that I've been here since we quit our job in February. Probably April, I think, is when I moved. Yeah, I've been here since April. Still haven't been able to get a job. Still just suffering and trying not to be a bother, which I know I'm not. I know my little brother would go through hell, just like me, for anything for me. But currently talking to the Humane Society about possibly getting a job there, which they did say that they're hiring all the time. They just hired somebody, so they're not right now, but to keep checking with them, so I'm gonna see about that, hopefully. But yeah, that I figured I'd go ahead and talk about that, get that out of there. Hopefully it'll make me feel better, I don't know. But I see we're coming right up to the end, so I need to cut this. Okay, so fun. I've got a couple other video things that I'm going to be doing, and then probably trying to stream. But yeah, so see you.